11:30, welcome in everybody. I'm meteorologist Jason Mikell by my good friend Terry Eliasen, our executive producer here, and we're here to talk a little bit about weather.
We are. We're going to chit-chat about just how gloomy this April stretch has been. And for those that, maybe haven't been in New England their whole lives or been here very long, like this kind of is how we roll in spring. Like, unfortunately, you got a couple good days more often than not in April, or just the rest of the country seems like they're warming up. Like, things are blooming, things are moving along, but New England's just like, hold on a second, we're not done with this nasty weather just yet.
My besties in Austin, they had a couple stormy days, the past couple weeks or so. It's very warm. It was near 90 there last week. I was just texting a friend in San Diego. He said they had an amazing week. Quote, he said an epic weekend. Epic weekend.
Yeah, I wouldn't call this past weekend for us epic.
No, I'd say a lot of choice words, but it will
unless you're an earthworm or something. But there's a lot of rain. Checking on the radar, like there's rain up and down the East Coast right now, and still some severe weather going on in parts of the Southeast. They've just been, the southern part of the United States has just been rocked by severe weather this spring so
Even
far.
earlier this morning, around 5 a.m., there was a tornado warning in southwestern Georgia. The Mid-Atlantic are on a convective sort of outlook, at least for today.
Yeah, it's been rough down there.
It really has, yeah.
But here, we actually got a little white on the radar. So I know when I drove in this morning, there were a couple like wet flakes mixed in, little sleety stuff. So if you're anywhere north of the Pike, say this afternoon or even this evening, don't be shocked if you see a couple flakes, a couple pellets off the windshield. Not expecting any significance from it, no accumulation really, but just kind of a reminder that, it's April and we ain't done yet.
We might have to move the season back a little bit, maybe around mid to late April. Maybe that's when winter officially ends for New England. We're operating on a different set of principles here in this part of the country. But no doubt, we woke up to some wintry mixing points over in the Worcester Hills this morning. Northern Mass, they had some sleet. Even Jacob Wyckoff texted me this morning. He said he had some sleet in his neighborhood. Okay. So it's been a very wet, unfortunate start to the month of April, friends, certainly last week.
Yeah, you go back to the end of March, and it's actually, so today makes 9 of the last 10 days where measurable rain has fallen in Boston. That's brutal. You know what I mean? Good.
And only a trace of snow. What was that? Maybe 2 weeks ago?
Not long,
in the city. So March and April has definitely been very interesting. March was a warmer month. Yeah. April starting out on a rainy, cooler month too.
Yeah. All I can say is that if April showers bring May flowers, then we're going to have one heck of a May. It's going to be blooming all over the place.
Mother's Day is going to be one for the record book.
Yeah, so we take the bad now, and hopefully we transition, into a nicer stretch coming up here. But basically, the rest of the day, there's not really a ton of precipitation, more spotty this afternoon and evening. Again, few showers in southern New England, few flakes maybe again in Worcester County, and then we get one last shower tomorrow morning between like 7 and 10 a.m. And that's a cold front coming through. And then behind that, we may not be talking about rain for a little bit, but it's going to be pretty chilly.
It's going to be chilly tomorrow. I told people earlier this morning, Terry, if you remember last Saturday was sort of a grim, gloomy, chilly type of day. I threw the windows cracked just a little bit, and I had to close them back, okay, because it felt like the 30s and the 40s outside. It was nice to hear the rain. I actually get jazzed about hearing the rain. So it was nice, but it was chilly. Tomorrow we have that one final batch that's going to be raking through, as Terry was saying, between like 7 and 8. And then we still remain in the mid to low 40s. Definitely, it feels like temperatures are going to be in the mid to low 40s tomorrow, but sky conditions actually improve.
Yeah, so the good news is the sun returns. These temperatures will probably be more early in the day, midday, and then they're going to be dropping in the afternoon. So I think, we'd be dropping into the 30s. Real temperatures in the 30s, and here we go.
And then, the wind meter, here it comes.
So this is tomorrow, late afternoon, early evening, gusting, say 20 to 40, maybe a little higher over the Cape and the Islands. And so you couple a 38, 40-degree temperature with winds like this, and that ain't much fun. If you go into Fenway tomorrow evening, and we'll have that forecast up in a bit, but it's just going to be, again, the rain's gone, but now we're into sort of a windy, chilly And who wants to be talking about wind chills in April? I actually thought we could put this graphic to bed. Not quite yet.
That's not going to happen. It feels like temperatures will be in the 20s Wednesday morning, perhaps even Thursday morning. And, you know, if you dial up the winds just a skosh, a 10 to 15 mile per hour wind with some of the 30s there, you definitely need the heavy coat heading out for Wednesday morning. Look at the feels like temperatures on Wednesday morning. Teens in several areas in and around the city, and it just kind of falls off once you get west of Worcester on the Mass Pike, and certainly north into portions of southern and southern Vermont and New Hampshire.
Yeah, so I wouldn't. So the actual temperature, air temperatures will be in the 20s for most areas, and so you shouldn't have. It's way too early to garden here anyhow. There's still plenty of frost and whatnot. But if you have, say, got any of those early season plants, maybe you threw a couple on the deck or whatever, you're going to want to bring them in over the next couple of days. There's going to be a couple really chilly nights ahead. So. And I know a lot of some of the early bushes, the forsythia, a couple things have started blooming. So this is not the best news for anything that's early blooming, but as much as you can, do your best to bring anything in if you've already, got any plants. But forecast highs on Wednesday, still in the 40s. A reminder that the average high right now is about 53, 54 degrees. So we're running 5 to 10 degrees, at least that much below average the next few days.
And that'll pretty much be the first half of the week. Now until about Wednesday being below average. Thursday is actually my pick of the week.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. We don't have. They're hard to come by right now. The picks.
They're very.
You know what I mean? So we gotta really find one when we can. This is just another illustration of, and that purple is like 25 to 32, and you can see come Wednesday morning the whole area is in the 20s. Some of the higher elevations, maybe even the upper teens, low 20s Wednesday morning. And again on Thursday morning, another chilly start. But then we do, as you say, we do recoup Thursday.
I told you.
Look at that, back up to near average on Thursday. So there's the pick, 54 degrees.
54 degrees, that's my pick. And then, it kind of backs off, unfortunately, and when temperatures start to cool off into the weekend.
You know what that means.
Yeah, we have more wet weather, unfortunately, coming on in here. All right, let's quickly talk about the Fenway forecast. There's a game later this evening. It's tomorrow evening and Wednesday evening and Thursday mid-afternoon. As you can see, temperatures just really going to be sort of unsettling if you're going to be going into the ballpark for today and certainly by tomorrow. Even though sky conditions improve for Tuesday evening and Wednesday evening, it's not really going to feel that way.
Yeah, be windy and cooler. It is the Blue. So they are this 4-game series is against the Blue Jays. So they're from Toronto. So my guess is that this will feel just like home for them.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? They'll be like, that just sounds about right. But man, if you're sitting out there exposed in those seats the next couple of nights, you're going to want to bring along a blanket or some kind of dress very warm. I've spent many an April night at Fenway Park, and it's rough. You got it's not for the you got to be a hardy New Englander to on a 40-degree night with winds gusting 20, 30 miles an hour. Yeah. You got to really love your team.
We could sell you something. We could sell you last Friday again, but I don't know if you want to buy into that as well. Oh, and also the Woo Sox.
They're back in town. They're back in town. Similar deal. 30s and 40s next few days. But at least, like you said, at least the sun's coming back. Yeah. Now, do we dare show this late weekend?
Well, wait just a minute.
Okay, sorry.
Everyone take a deep breath as we press the play button on late week heading into the weekend. We're unsettled again. As I told you, we're going to be cooler heading into Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and here it goes.
Yeah, I mean,
we're going to wind up.
So what happens is the jet stream gets a big old kind of like, it almost gets cut off from the rest of the flow, and when that happens this time of year and you're in the wrong you're in the wrong section of the jet stream, now again, there's hope here because it's only Monday. Now we're looking at next weekend, so maybe we can refigure things a little bit here. But as of right now, it looks like we're probably going to be in for 2 or 3 days. There's late Thursday into probably most of the weekend. Just looks unsettled, looks wet.
And for perspective, say for instance this was 2-3 months ago, we'd probably be talking about a pretty monster.
A lot of snow, absolutely. So I guess there's that. That's an optimistic point of view.
I look for the silver lining.
Yes. And this is just an idea of how much rain we could be talking about this Friday through Sunday. Somewhere between 1 and 3 inches, perhaps, if it all turns out right. Again, it's a ways off, so let's not get too depressed about next weekend just yet. But it does seem like we're getting into this every weekend sort of wet pattern. That's a bummer. Let's hope that doesn't continue for much longer. Here's Jay's 7-day.
Oh, all right.
Take a look.
Couple low 40s at the beginning of our 7-day forecast. Again, sunshine really hangs above and hangs quite brightly once we get into Wednesday, mid to upper 40s, still feeling a bit chilly there. By Thursday, again, that's my pick of the week. We'll be back to near average, sunny and warmer before increasing clouds develop, and that'll take us into our Friday, where our Friday will likely have spot showers set to return to the region, though mild. You saw that system that really sort of curled across the northern New England area, northeast U.S., I should say, and we are back into the mid to low 50s for Saturday for the start of the weekend. So we'll have a mild weekend, though we'll have a wet weekend. So there's possibly going to be alert for this weekend. Just sort of kind of give you a heads up as you have a lot of spring games.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I got my son's hoping to play some baseball at the end of this week, and I know there's a lot of folks soccer, lacrosse, so we'll keep you updated on that weekend. Just one other thought on the weekend. We do have a full moon. I believe it's Saturday. So if we were to get some sort of, you saw that the sort of the coastal storm setting up, wouldn't be shocked if we were talking about a little bit of minor coastal flooding if that whole thing sets up right, because again the tides will be astronomically high this weekend. But not to add an insult to injury here, but if you're watching us on YouTube, by the way, make sure you like and subscribe. We'll try to be a little more upbeat if we can later this week about the forecast.
Well, you know what? We'll come back on Wednesday.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, sure. But yeah, so Jay's coming on at noon in about 20 minutes.
Yep.
And we'll try to find some silver lining. You're pretty good at doing that.
And actually, you know what? Before we go, I saw a cool graphic the other day. If you are unfamiliar with how tides and the moon work, I'm going to post it on my Insta story. Let me see if I can find that. It's actually really cool. All right, everybody, we'll see you in about 19 minutes on the news at noon. Paula will be joining me there. I'm Jason. He's Terry. This is our next weather quick forecast for you on this Monday. Have an awesome and very safe Monday, everybody. We'll see you in about 19 minutes.
CBS News Boston is now streaming live on our YouTube channel every morning from 7 to 9 a.m. So if you're watching us streaming on YouTube, please like and subscribe to our channel, CBS News Boston.